Alright guys, what is up? Sean here, and today I'm trying the Elgato live com thingy while you play the game, built-in live com thingy. I honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to use this thing, so hopefully it works out, and hopefully it doesn't sound terrible, and I don't have to re-record this. But we're playing UFC 3, and the only reason we're doing that is because I want to talk about the new EA Sports UFC game that they were going to show gameplay of at Gamescom that they ended up showing, like, absolutely nothing. I'll be Martin Campman. I don't know why. I don't feel like being anyone usual, and actually we'll just fight random guy. It's easier. And let's change the venue, and we're good to go. So, yeah, so I'm doing this live commentary just so there's something on the screen, and then we're going to talk about the EA Sports game. So, they said they were going to show gameplay at Gamescom, and for my preferences, they didn't really show gameplay, and I'm just going to turn the mic down a little bit because it keeps flashing red, and I don't want it flashing red, so turn it down a little bit. So they were going to show gameplay, and to me, gameplay is you playing the game. You know? Like, it's actual gameplay. What they showed was more like they have in the past. I have to fight Damian Maia. That's not what I wanted to do with Campman. I was going to go for a submission with Campman, and Damian Maia is very good at submission, so that kind of just threw my game plan out the window. Anyway, Carlos Condit versus Campman is live August 28th on Fox Sports 1. That is a Wednesday, so yeah, just let you know. That's why I was going to use Campman, because I was thinking about him because of that. But anyway, so they were going to show gameplay, and gameplay to me is like what I'm going to show you right now. This is me playing the game. Like, I would have appreciated if they came out and they did a fight, and, you know, they showed this whole thing. However, they're doing the walk-up, which should be like this. But they didn't. They showed brief, like, a couple strikes and a submission, sort of, but they didn't even really show how the submission system works, because, like, in this game, the submission system is you have to keep your bar over the opponent's bar to get the submission. I don't know how they're going to do it in EA Sports UFC game. So, EA Sports has made one MMA game before, and it was featuring the Strikeforce brand of fighters, so there's a lot of fighters there who are in the UFC now, as the UFC has swallowed Strikeforce. But this game was made by THQ. Right before THQ went bankrupt, EA bought the rights to the UFC away from them, and it was likely a way to try and save the company, to try and save them from bankruptcy, because there's a lot of money in the UFC's video game license, and so they sold it to EA in an attempt to make back the money, and, well, obviously it did not work, as they still ended up going under. But, you know, from what I saw, now, they might have just been showing, you know, big strikes because they wanted to show off their engine, and I'm all for believing that, but, like, the guy responded, Gustafsson responded way too much to the kick. Like, she shot back like he just got, you know, absolutely destroyed, and, you know, not every strike is an absolutely, like, obliterating blow. Like, not everything, like, right there, I rocked him, and that's okay to see, you know, him react, but, you know, every strike they showed, like, he got hit in the side, and he, like, freaked the fuck out, and I don't know, it was bothering me, and I was reading through the comments on the video just to see what everyone else was thinking, and a lot of people mentioned that he looked like he was overreacting, and I didn't know if it was just me, but clearly I was not the only one realizing that. And I'm not going to say that THQ's games are perfect. I mean, there's a lot of robotic feel to the fighters, and, you know, there's stuff that they can work on, but there's always stuff you can work on. I mean, had THQ not gone out of business, their next game probably would have been pretty good. I mean, they would have improved on what they have here, and, you know, from 2009 when they made their first game to now, they've made a lot of improvements as far as, you know, gameplay-wise. Like, a lot of work up against the cage is now available, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff that they did that's really good and realistic. And, you know, another problem, like, I have a big problem with EA Sports MMA game, the one that they released back in '08. Now, again, granted, that's been a long time, but this is still only going to be their second game. I mean, they haven't made one since then. But my problems were, like, a lack of diversity in the strikes. It was bothering me that a lot of people could throw both high and low kicks, where on here it's very specific. Like, if a fighter can only throw his back leg high, on here he can only throw his back leg high. Like, it's accurate to what happens in real life. Let's go for the finish here, Catman. No, and time is going to expire before I get the finish, motherfucker, Damian Maya. Anyway, but there was a lack of diversity in the strikes. I felt like not everyone did strike accurately. Like some people could do things that I just don't believe that they could do. And that bothered me. I think the ground game was absolutely awful, like pitiful in EA Sports MMA. I didn't like it at all. And it was very arcadey to me. And by arcadey, I mean there was a lot of HUD on the screen, and like you had like a head meter that was like showing like if you were injuring their head, like when their head was really injured, you could go for the knockout. Like, it's a lot better in this game, where you can get a flash knockout, which means you just throw a punch or a kick and they get knocked out, and they're just out, and that's it. You can rock them, and like it slows down, and when you rock them. But I think that's a lot better than like the overwhelming amount of HUD. Like, there's a bunch of HUD at the top of the screen in EA Sports MMA. You can just look it up, and it's aggravating. Like, this is accurate to a TV broadcast of what they would look like if they were on TV broadcasting a pay-per-view or whatever. And, I hope that they work with Fox Sports. I don't know that they will, but to get, the Fox Sports guys and like to get their HUD and like just the things they do. I mean, they use a different look when they're on, cable or network television than they do when they're on a pay-per-view. And that uppercut rocked them. What? Fuck you with this clinch game, buddy. You are not going to clinch up on me right now. This is not the time for this shit. But there's a lot of stuff that I hope they do, and I'm just worried that they won't, because I don't. There's part of me that like I like some of the things they did with EA Sports MMA, but the other point is I don't. And oh god, get out no, bad. Don't give Damien our back, Marcus. God damn. Okay, now I'm gassed. But like another thing I like is you could always get the stamina wasn't terrible. In the EA Sports game, like, they did a pretty good job managing the stamina. But I also... Oh, that's a flash knockout. Like, so that's what I'm talking about, motherfucker. Go to sleep, Damian Maya. We'll do another fight while I'm talking. Let's go! I'm a champ. But that was on advanced, so it was it's a pretty high difficulty. It's like medium difficulty, like the middle of the ranges, but I enjoyed it. But, like, the stamina in this, you could have it on... I don't even know what they call it. Authentic or something. They call the stamina something where there's like you get really tired, and then there's another one where you can still get tired, but it's less likely, and you can more then there's like competition mode, which is like total Super Street Fighter, like you can just mash all the buttons. And I like having those variations. And here they have Pride rules and UFC rules. Pride rules, knees and kicks to the head on the ground are allowed. But no elbows, and UFC elbows are allowed, but no knees or kicks to the head of a grounded opponent. I like having that. I hope they have the accurate referees like Mario Yamasaki, Herb Dean, those guys, Eve Levine, who are like, very common to appear for the UFC. They're obviously going to have Bruce Buffer, but I just hope that the presentation looks pretty much almost identical to the way THQ's been showing their games and been doing this. THQ has, the coaches like Greg Jackson and all these people in the game. I hope that they stick to that. I hope the career mode is extensive. THQ's isn't bad, but I obviously hope EA improves it, but I hope they don't do what the EA MMA game does for career mode, because I think it's terrible. I do hope that the game has like a highlight system built in, because sometimes I want to go back and like watch a replay of the fight, and I kind of hope it has like a theater mode. I know that the new consoles are going to have like the DVR built in, but I still hope it has like a Call of Duty style theater mode where I can go back and rewatch that fight and like change the angle of the camera. Maybe have like real broadcast angles and then have like a free flying camera. I don't know if they're going to do that. I hope that cuts are accurate, and by cuts being accurate, I mean that for one, they happen in an accurate place, like that they're not always in the same place, like that the cuts can happen anywhere. And I hope that they also have like the cuts affecting people somehow. I don't know how you should manage that. I'm gonna be Brock Lesnar because Brock's a fucking tank. Like how you manage the cuts affecting people, because like you can't really take away my vision, but like you can't cover my screen in blood. Well, maybe you could. You could cover my screen in blood, maybe. But I hope that getting a cut isn't as meaningless as it appears to be in games right now. Like I hope that maybe you can hold to block like punches and kicks, like you can cover your face up. I hope that they maybe you're less likely to actually get the block. Like maybe you'll miss one and it'll catch you because you're bleeding and the blood is going into your eye and you can't see. Who the fuck am I fighting? Don Fry. Yeah, he's a Pride fighter. That's why. I saw this guy and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But I really like THQ's game and I don't enjoy EA Sports MMA. And I'm just my biggest fear is that we're gonna progress one better than EA Sports MMA, and we're not gonna progress one better from UFC 3. And I hope that they don't just improve from their past attempt; they improve on THQ's attempt, because THQ's game is pretty solid for an MMA game. I mean, it's their third one that they've ever done, and I mean MMA is a complex sport, and I hope that THQ's done a really good job of having a lot of different variations of punches and kicks to throw, a lot of variation to battling up against the cage. With the Pride fighting, you can fight in the ring with the ropes instead of in a cage. I hope that, like in EA Sports MMA, they do have the multiple different places that you can fight, because this game, you can bring the UFC fighters to the Pride rules. It's possible. But I hope that they have just you pick whatever style you have, whether you have a cage or whether you have a boxing ring, or whether it's the octagon or if it's the circular or the hexagon or whatever, different variations there may be. I just hope they have all that, and I hope that the ground game is improved, and I hope the submission system's good. The submission system in this one's pretty good, but I mean, it can always be improved. Obviously, there's never a perfect, definitive submission system in a game. And I'm gassing Brock, but at the same time, like, this guy is royally fucked. Brock's tired, though. Like, this is the one thing I hate. This game, they get a little extra tired to me. Like, it's a little excessive, and he stopped doing that. like, I can't even strike right now, basically. And I'm not even, like, doing anything. I'm just kind of, like, sitting here, watching this guy roll around. Like, this guy's in so much trouble, and I just can't finish him because I'm exhausted. Like, it's annoying as fuck. Uh-oh, he's gonna sneak out the back. Alright, well. Like, Brock is so gassed. I hope they kind of manage it better. Like, I hope that this game does have, like, overarching stamina. Like, you can get extra tired from something that you did earlier on. But I hope that they let me go a little bit crazier in one burst, but it really affects me later. And Don Fry, that was terrible. Like, I just absolutely wrecked his fucking face. It was a brutal fight. But, from what I saw, my complaints were that they over-exaggerate the strikes sometimes. Like, the guy really reacted to getting hit, like, in a way that I didn't think was very realistic. I hope the referee has more of an impact in the new game, because, here he's kind of there, but he just kind of comes over and ends it. I hope that he's there and comes over and ends it, but also, maybe some of the strikes will be illegal and he'll, like, say something, or there's a way to, like, grab the cage, and then, if you keep doing it, you'll lose a point. Like, maybe you hold a button down, it'll grab the cage. Just a bunch of things I want to see. They didn't really show much, so we don't really know. They said it was pre-alpha footage, so I'll give them that. He said about 9 more months till they're going to be done. It's coming out in the spring of 2014, so they have time to do all these things. They didn't really show much, so I don't really know. I'm just saying that from their last game, I would like them to improve more on what UFC 3 did and make it more similar to UFC 3 than to their previous attempt. And the control scheme is a big deal. They tried to use the Fight Night thing where you punch with a stick, and I found it difficult to string together combinations. As on here, it's pretty easy because it's the face buttons. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. I'm going to leave you guys because I've droned on long enough, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me babble, and I'll see you later. Hopefully this worked, too. It's another thing, because I've never used the Elgato Live